This is the Canon Powershot V1. I'm going to be shooting this entire video using automatic mode unless I tell you otherwise, and also using the internal microphone with no external mic. I just got it, so I'm going to give you my initial thoughts and tell you about the reason why I picked this over the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and also the Canon R50V. And my top contender versus this camera was actually going to be the Lumix S9, which I still may purchase at a later date because that one is just so beautiful. But in the meantime, I thought, let's see if Canon is still up to that magic. So does Canon still have that sauce? Now, I don't work at Canon and I don't know much about their marketing decisions, but I suspect that they brought this camera to market very quickly after the huge resurgence of interest in the Canon G7X Mark II and the Canon G7X Mark III. My husband is on a telephone call behind me, so we're really going to put this internal microphone to the test. People once again wanted a point and shoot camera, especially vloggers, but I think a lot of them, like me, are after a specific look, and that is a kind of warm, almost dreamy look. And the reason I wanted the Canon over other brands and over the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I have owned, is the specific Canon look. And I don't know how to describe it because I'm not a photography reviewer. Maybe some of you who are better than I am at describing this stuff can drop a note in the comments and say specifically what it is about that Canon look. But that's the look we're trying to get. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out of this camera. If I can't, I may not be as happy with it, but I'm hopeful that I can. Now, as for my own case, I used to have a Canon DSLR a number of years ago, and I love the look of that camera. And I've always been kind of trying to get back there, and I've been struggling. And that's for a few reasons. I mean, one of them is that I never used to shoot in 4K because that camera didn't have that capability. It only had 1080p, which is not considered ideal right now, especially if you're uploading to YouTube. YouTube really wants to promote 4K video. They've actually just talked about this recently for those who are watching on TVs because that's the big new segment of the market that they're chasing. And the DSLR was heavy, it had a lens, it wasn't really portable at all, and I just didn't like having to fiddle with it a bit. And then I also took a break off YouTube. So I sold that camera, and I'm kind of sorry that I did because I cannot get it back for the price that I sold it for. I think it was the SL2, if I'm remembering, that came with the kit lens, and it was, the image quality was really, really nice. So in the intervening years, I've been shooting with just my iPhone, and that has been adequate. You know, I've never been 100% happy with anything that I shoot inside, and so that's also what led me to buying this camera. If I were just someone who, one of these outdoor live streamers, I think that's a great choice. It would have worked well. Whenever I do vlogs outdoors, it looks beautiful. I think that iPhone actually has quite nice colors, especially for anything landscape. The greens are really nice, I find, in the iPhone. But indoors, it just was never cutting it for me. Like, for example, I have some freckles, right? And the iPhone will not pick up on those inside. It just sort of digitalizes my face, and it just, to me, is not a pleasing image. And that is important to me, especially as I age. So I am going to switch into skin smoothing mode, which is another reason that I purchased this. Now, as far as I know, with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, you can do skin smoothing, but I believe you have to download that footage onto your phone and then put it through the DJI Mimo app and then apply the skin smoothing setting inside of there, which is extra process, and that's fine if you enjoy processing video after the fact. Maybe you're into color grading as well, but that's just, it's not me. That is not the life for me. So I'm gonna switch you now into skin smoothing mode, which is one of the reasons that I decided to try this out again. Okay, here we go. So the next time you see me, we're gonna be switching over to the medium setting of skin smoothing. So here we are in skin mode, and apologies, my husband is a newspaper reporter and he's working from home today, and he's on the phone dealing with another Canadian tariff situation, let's call it that. This is the skin smoothing mode that I intend to use very much when I'm sitting here, and I can already see that the quality is much better than what I can get out of my iPhone, and is much better than what I could get out of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And not only that, I have a bit of ability, because I've got this zoom lens on here, to bring the camera in a little bit if I want to talk about like makeup, or maybe I'm, doing some eyeliner, because I do product reviews that often include beauty products, but I also vlog. So it's nice to have that wider angle. Let me push you back out again. People are saying the zoom is slow. I find it to be adequate. I don't know how much faster you'd want to go because it becomes jarring if you're quickly zooming in and out. in the middle of a clip, but that is ultimately for you to decide whether that's a deal breaker for you or not. For me, it isn't. So there we have skin smoothing mode, which I think looks good because I've already previewed all these little clips in iMovie, which is how I edit. Okay, back to automatic mode, and I'm just hand holding this now, and it's heavy. That's the thing. So if you're like me and you don't have particularly strong arms, this is not as light as the Osmo Pocket 3. It's certainly not as light as my iPhone, which is just so easy to hold and walk around with. I am going to say that I think it's a mistake to think of this camera as something that you're going to be carrying and holding, because I just don't really see people doing that much anymore. I either see people just holding their iPhone, holding the Osmo Pocket 3, or holding a small action camera for the walking shots that we're seeing a lot of. And that makes sense. They're stabilized, of course. Why would you want to carry this around? It kind of looks clunky and a little bit silly if you ask me. Right, so I'm just testing this in the dark environment of my house, and that was another reason I wanted to get this over the Osmo Pocket 3 and over my iPhone, and that is because I film inside so much, and those have small sensors, right? I mean, the iPhone sensors are tiny, and then the OP3 has that 1-inch sensor, and I just needed something a bit more robust, but I didn't necessarily need the overkill of the Lumix S9 at this point. Just wanted something that was good enough. So I'm in my kitchen, which is a dark room, and so now we're just gonna go outside. I'm hand holding this, but I'm walking slowly. So we are gonna see jitters and wobbles. We know that this camera's not the best for that, and my arms are already tired. So if this is your life, I don't know if this is the camera for you. It's already heavy, but the image quality is nicer than what I've been getting out of all the other cameras that I had mentioned. Of course, not the Lumix S9, because I have not tried that one so far. Still may buy it though, because I find it just to be that appealing. It's gonna be, I think, the same weight as this one, but more compact, because this is like a brick. So here we are, we're gonna see if those ND filters kick in. Very, very harsh overhead light right now. Right, so here we are. I don't know how much I like it for outside, but I already know that I really like it on the inside. I don't think that this picture quality is a lot better than my iPhone when I shoot vlogs. The bottom line is I sort of bought it to be an indoor camera. I am, again, with all the cicadas around me, and I've got flights overhead, just using the internal mic. So hopefully the quality is adequate. I am planning to use in the future, of course, an external mic. I'm a bit picky about the audio, but I wanted to make sure that you guys had a good sense, if you don't want to go down that route, what it could sound like. And I'm soft-spoken as well, so I should say that. I don't project my voice at all. I'm just now behind the camera pretending that I'm vlogging something out and about. This is just my backyard. These are the rows of Sharon, and once again we're going to see how this microphone performs when I'm standing behind it. Should be okay, but we'll see. Let's have a look here. Let's go down some stairs, and again, this is just meant to be test footage to see how this performs and just to give you an initial look as I'm experiencing it as well. Now I can already tell that this camera is not perfect in all situations, but it is what I was looking for, so that is good. Okay. A big problem I've been hearing is how slow it is to expose for the face once you come indoors from being out, but I actually think that that's okay. Not as quick as my iPhone was, for sure not. And I'm sure slower than a lot of the nice cameras out there. And I can see that my hand is shaking because this is heavy. So again, keep that in mind. The last thing I wanted to mention is I'm starting to see the Canon Powershot V1 go on sale. Helen in editing here. Somehow I defocused this footage, so my apologies. I think I pressed something. It's been a number of years since I've pretty heavily used a camera that is not my smartphone, so bear with me. I'm still getting to grips with all the different functions on this. I think at the regular retail price, it's a bit too expensive. All right, so this was just an initial test. If you want to see more, please do subscribe, because I will be making some follow-ups. I'm going to put up a video that YouTube has decided is the best for you, because I don't know what that's going to be. So go ahead and watch that next, and we'll see you in the next video.